Welcome to the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast, hosted by Miguel Machado, CEO at Keenfolks, an integrative AI marketing agency revolutionizing brand consumer connections. In this podcast, we chat with marketing leaders about key challenges and opportunities in marketing, focusing on how AI integration can help achieve long-term business objectives. If you're looking to innovate in your marketing approach or stay ahead of industry trends, this podcast is your go-to resource. Subscribe now and be part of the AI marketing transformation.
Welcome to number 1 episode of the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast. Today we have an incredible guest joining us, Omar Carrion. Thank you for joining, Omar.
Thank you, Miguel. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for being here. Omar is the Senior Integrated Marketing Communications and Omnichannel Director for Kellanova in Latin America, where he oversees communication strategies for some of the most well-known brands in Latin America, like Zucaritas, Choco Krispies, Pringles, and Cheez-It. But rather than just hear it from me, Omar, I would love you to introduce yourself and share a little bit more about your background and the journey that brought you here, where you are today.
Thank you, Miguel. It's difficult to introduce yourself. So, I'm Mexican. I've been working on advertising and marketing communication over the past 30 years, mainly for the Latin American market. I have a dual professional experience. I used to work for so many years on the advertising agency side. I have the opportunity to work with several global and international brands. And also later on, I have the opportunity to jump to the other side of the equation, to the more corporate client side. So I worked for 7 years at Coca Cola in Mexico, for Mexican projects, but also for Latin American projects. And 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to join Kellogg at that time, now Kellanova, to start developing the integrated marketing capability and how we can start to integrate, not just from the advertising or the traditional perspective, but also with the digital side of the equation. That at that time is becoming more important and starting to have more influence on the communication strategy. So over the past 10 years, basically my role here at Kellanova was how we can start to consolidate the marketing communication solutions, how we can create a more consistent and a more solid communication platforms for the regional brands, more the cereal brands, but also for the snack brands. And also how we can see the communication process more as not just as a traditional approach of advertising, but how we can start to understand in a much better way the consumer, how we can use in a more efficient way the content messages across the different digital platforms, and how we can start to create a more segmented audiences to create more relevant content and communication. So obviously it's going to be a long journey but a very interesting one. So this is part of my current role that involves strategy, creative approach, digital strategy, media planning. So it's quite interesting and quite challenging during the current situation that we face as brands in a very changing world.
Yeah, absolutely. Coca Cola, Kellanova, big heavyweights on CPG. So given your experience in executing communication strategies across multiple platforms, what do you think are some of the key challenges you faced recently in your marketing strategies execution?
Yeah, I think that as a CPG brands, the main challenge that we face is how we can continue to create this link and this bonding with the people and with the consumers, and how we can be more relevant in this new environment that is overstimulated, right? So there are too many messages, too many brands trying to catch and to get closer to these consumers, and how you can be different or relevant in this mess of many messages, many solutions. So the idea was probably to try to understand in a much better way our consumers, try to not to over communicate or to over stimulate the conversation with them. So I think the critical part of our marketing challenge right now is try to identify the right consumer and what is the best place to communicate our message. So try to be more specific on what are the relevant touch points to get access to them and to deliver that message that could fit their need specifically at that particular moment or a particular need. So probably the main challenge is that right now the consumer or the people didn't want to hear every single minute or every single moment of the day about brands. So obviously to try to address the specific needs or situation that could be fit or relevant to their current daily lives, and how we can create not just a traditional type of relationship or conversation, or how we can be part of their daily lives, and how we can elevate their experiences or the situation that they are facing on a daily life, no? And the brands or the content could be an enabler to make it more easier or more grateful for a specific situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that our attention span, I think it's reducing more and more. I think that we've been trained not to scroll, and I think that our attention is getting more and more reduced, and it's more difficult. No, so that's a really important challenge you've highlighted. I think that it's something we've seen many brands face as well. So what I would say is let's double click on how actually artificial intelligence can help with that. No. I've been seeing an article about Kellanova principles implementing AI, and it was very interesting to know that you guys are actually pretty advanced in your strategic approach to AI. There are three that really caught my attention. Now, the first one is like putting people first in your AI journey, always considering how AI will reshape your consumer experiences. The second one is understanding that AI is just a tool. And sometimes we get the impression of something else. It's a tool and it's not a magic solution, and needs to be connected with specific business goals. And the third one that I also share, investing in capabilities as much as in technology. Have this 50-50 approach, focusing always in developing team skills. I personally think that those are great principles, and I believe you already start seeing some results of them. Can you share with us some successful cases and results you've been able to achieve so far?
Yeah, for sure. Probably the first thing that you mentioned, I think, is critical because, again, considering that the type of brands that we have and the type of business that we are in, it's very important to be very specific that we are following this consumer-centric approach, right? Not just for AI, but for everything that we do, try to put the consumer at the center of the equation and try to understand the different nuances that we could face on that particular side. Related to the artificial intelligence, I think the main benefit that we are just starting to get in this journey, that it's quite new for us also, I think it's in terms of data and the understanding on the information and the business intelligence that we can develop based on that. So probably the immediate benefit that we are receiving from artificial intelligence is how we can get access to the data and the correlation of data in a more efficient way, in a more friendlier way. So it gives us the opportunity to track or to spread a little bit more faster the different data that we have, because, companies like Kelanova used to have a lot of data and information available, and the main challenge is how you can start to take a look in a more detail to that information. So the AI is helping us just to try to be more efficient on that path, to try to get the opportunity to our colleagues to get access to that information, to correlate, to try to take a look to a specific highlights or nuances of that information in order to create better insight. No, I think that logical path on how we can translate data into insights into actions, I think it continues to be the fundamental path that we need to follow. So obviously AI as a tool is giving us a lot of opportunities to try to be more effective and also a little bit more efficient in terms of time and resources that we are putting in there. And the other thing that you mentioned that I think it's very important is that we need to understand AI as a tool, right? Because obviously in all this conversation that is happening around artificial intelligence and what are the main dangers that we could face in the future, I think that the human ingredient on that equation, I think, is critical, right? So as you said, it's not a magical solution. It's not like this kind of Harry Potter type of thing that creates something from nothing. So the idea is how we can use the tool in order to create better hypotheses, better solutions, other possibilities. But the strategic thinking behind that and how we can use it in order to create better solution, I think it's more important, no? From the strategic perspective. But obviously, related to that, considering that most of the companies like Kellanova, we're not technological companies or fintech companies. Obviously, we need to invest a lot in capabilities and technologies, right? So we need to create that ecosystem that help us to connect the different data sources that we have available and try to make it usable for the internal capabilities and the teams that we have. Probably that's the biggest challenge because there is a lot of capital investment that we have to put in there. Also, how we can use the current resources that we have with the new ones that they are not necessarily, in many cases, ready to connect in an easier way. So this is a big challenge that right now we're facing, right? Because you have too many different resources that they are not necessarily, didn't have the common ground to get connected and to make it available in order to make the right correlation or to get the right data or the right results that you need. So probably from the technical perspective, this is a big challenge. And also it's a forecast in terms of the investment that we are putting behind in terms of CapEx to how we can make it efficient and reliable, right? Because the other thing is that because we are understanding this new ecosystem, and we're not experts on that particular side, we need to find also the right partners to help us to create that ecosystem in the right way and with the right path according to the current needs that we have. So probably is these three different highlights, Miguel, that we have to consider from the consumer understanding, from how we can make these resources available for the organization, and also what is the right path that we need to follow in order to build that capability that could help us to make the step for the next stage.
Before we dive back into our conversation, we'd love to hear from you. Are you eager to highlight your marketing expertise and share your vision for the future of the industry in the age of AI? If so, we invite you to be a guest on the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast. Reach out to us at info@thekeenfolks.com. We look forward to featuring the insights of marketing thought leaders like you in shaping the future in AI marketing transformation.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you say, especially from the focus that you have in data. I think that and somehow we are privileged in knowing some of your internal operations. I think this is something that it's really distinguished Kellanova, the center and the focus in data, and how that somehow is optimizing your media operation and audience targeting. I think this is somehow they are pieces of initial signs of a broader revolution. I was just reading in Gartner report that in 2025, meaning next year, 75% of the marketers will already use AI tools. And this, according with their forecast, obviously, will be leading to 30% increase in company efficiency and effectiveness. So as we look toward the future, and this case I would say very close future, I'm curious to know about the broader tech landscape at Kellanova. With so much evolving, as you said before, it's so difficult for actually a marketer get along with all this evolution at the fast pace that is getting. In the digital and AI space, what are the tech priorities you are seeing shaping the future of Kellanova?
Yeah, there are obviously some of them that there are more critical ones, no, but I think right now the company is working very hard and very focused, specifically, for example, on supply chain, right? That is especially for a company like us, it's a critical one, and obviously AI is one of the main enablers that could help us to do that, but trying to be more focused on the type of things that we develop from the marketing communication perspective. Obviously, the biggest one is data and how we can have a much better understanding of the consumer. But also, we just started to explore some other initiatives related, for example, to the content, right? And we started to take a look to personalization, to automated information, to get access to dashboards, to make it a little bit more friendlier and easier. And in terms of content, you know that when you start to think in terms of visual content and production that we're seeing, there are also a lot of benefits on different artificial intelligence tools, no? Especially when you start to think in terms, for example, of e-commerce, on how you can start to articulate in a more better way your digital shelf, and what are the tools that could help to be more efficient in terms of cost production, to the apply of the different packaging that you have available in a specific market or for a specific brand. AI is helping us a lot on that particular side. And also when you create a specific content, for example, for social media, and you have the opportunity to take a look to these tools like Midjourney or Dali or that type, it helps us also to not just to create from one step to another the content, but it helps a lot to stimulate the creative process and to create different options, obviously in a much faster way that we used to do it in the traditional, more artisanal way. So I think there is a lot of test and learning in the different tools and the different mechanics, and also having the opportunity to interact with different agency and communication partners. It gives us the opportunity to take a look to different tools and possibilities on the marketing communication perspective, just for the data, just for the content, and also in terms of for example, the media optimization that we have. No, so right now we already have access to tools, for example, like Bitmob, that give us the opportunity to test the content that we are putting on social media based on a huge database that we have, and try to understand what are the standards that you need to meet in order to be more relevant or to have success with a specific piece of content, and you have the opportunity to adjust or to fix that particular content. And obviously you already know that right now most of our companies we are very focused on profitability and ROI and these econometric models like marketing mix modeling that obviously is a critical point in order to try to be more efficient and more profitable in terms of the investment that we are putting behind our platform. So there are too many different possibilities in terms of artificial intelligence. Probably they are not necessarily right now 100% end-to-end solutions, but they are being part of this equation that we are trying to build in order to be more efficient, to try to start to be a little bit one step ahead of the curve. But obviously there is a huge path and a long journey that we need to follow. And I think we need to be in a very continuous learning, test and learning path, because obviously there is a lot of new technologies, new things that are coming every single day. So for us, it's quite difficult to stay up to date in the current developing of different solutions. But the idea is, try to be humble and to try to be open to new possibilities and try to build our own path based on the solutions that we need to put in place.
Yeah, you mentioned some key points that are really very interesting. The test and learn, I think that it's quite important, and I love that approach from you guys. I think that the second point that I see that you're mentioning that it's quite relevant is actually on choosing the use cases and this idea that you don't have a complete solution, but you need to approach it in a test and learn perspective. And I think this is really capital. And the third one that I think that is particularly important is actually to build the use cases and to connect the AI output with business results. And I think on that side there is a lot of AI, I would say, that a lot of companies bringing a lot of things to somehow give a proof that AI can do things. But there are less that actually are bringing AI with a strong impact in business results. And I think that the demand almost from the business to get business cases really proven before actually starting with big endeavors in AI, it's great. And also I will highlight another thing that you said that I think it's particularly interesting. There is this humbleness. I think that, and you mentioned that before as well, Kellanova is not a technology company. And I think that is so important because there are many companies actually in the realm of CPG or pharma or other sectors that when they saw this wave of AI, they said, okay, I'm going to create my own language model or I'm going to create my own tool. And I think that it's so important that actually you take the seat there on the test and learn perspective and say, okay, let's first guarantee that we know enough. Let's first have a strong business case, and then we can do the next step. So really, really interesting and very, very important key points. So changing a little bit of subject, not from AI, but coming to more your recent experience. I know that you had the opportunity to be in Cannes Lion last June. I know that there is a lot of AI talking, obviously, and a lot of things being shown there. Is there any AI brand use case that you think that you would highlight as a reference?
Yeah. To be very honest, I expected to see more award-winning work related to AI because everything is around AI, right? But the good thing, and I'm saying in a very positive way, not all the work that was award-winning was related to AI, right? Because, I think AI is not just a trend that everybody is jumping in. So it's an enabler to do other things. But certainly there was a couple of examples that I think putting this focus on how artificial intelligence is helping the creative development. And there was a particular case from Heinz, the ketchup.
Yes.
That it was amazing, right? Heinz as a brand is an iconic brand that it has a very strong identity and a very visual iconicity elements that the agency and the client try to maximize in order to see that at the end, if you think in terms of ketchup, you need to think for Heinz, right? So they create a specific content that it was related on based on different approaches of the visual identity, how everything comes related to these iconic shapes, and that strong link with Heinz, right? Obviously, Oreo did a couple of things related to Oreo. Again, it's one of the most creative brands that are making great work over the past probably 10 years. So they also are doing a lot of things related to that. And there was also a couple of companies, especially on the e-commerce side, that they made a quite good examples. There was a specific case from the Super Bowl that
Yes.
they tried to put it all the different ads that they are running, and they're putting it in like a cloud and try to get the catch of what are the best possibilities in terms of the communication that you are seeing during the carrier of the Super Bowl, right? And that type of approach, it could only be happening because of the tools and the artificial intelligence that right now we are accessible, right? So I think from that perspective, artificial intelligence is becoming like a very interesting enabler on how we can potentialize the creative approach that we are putting in there, and not just trying to be as a cost saving type of approach, right? Because right, you can also find this way that the TV commercial that you in the past needs to invest 6 or 8 months in terms of production. Right now, with artificial intelligence, you can make it in 1 week, and it costs the 10% of the original costs, right? But I think right now we are seeing that there are different approaches in terms of how you can use data, how you can correlate the brand with the artificial intelligence, and how you can create a totally different storytelling about the brands. So I think that is a good thing that we saw in the past festival. But the other thing is that not everything was around artificial intelligence, and I think that also is a good sign that
Yes.
the creative is much more broader than just artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you're saying that. Today I was reading that actually NVIDIA indexation to stock market is getting so important as the employment rate in US, and it's incredible. And I think that obviously the brands and the companies cannot ignore that because it's impacting the economy at such a big level. But I like your perspective. I think that you are absolutely right when you say that sometimes AI is seen more in the efficiency side, but obviously it's much more than that. I think that it has obviously an important role in creativity. Obviously not to replace humans. I don't see that happening, and especially because I think that not even us can actually explain how is the creative process. There is something about intuition that it's very difficult to actually teach to a machine. But there is obviously a boost as well, an opportunity to boost effectiveness, creativity, and obviously the strategic output of the initiatives that we have in terms of communication. So it's very interesting that you said that. So thank you so much, Omar, for sharing these incredible insights today. So as we wrap up, I would like to highlight at least 2 key points that you stated in the interview that I think that it's quite interesting. The first is Kellanova strategic AI implementation. Is a great example of actually how to integrate technology effectively. By putting principles first, I think that Kellanova is clearly establishing AI as a pillar to increase its competitiveness. And I think that part of thinking slow and act fast, it's very interesting in the AI approach. So I think this is something to remark. And I think that the second part that I would state is that data-driven innovation. That is at the heart of Kellanova's success. So leveraging actually data analytics to drive product innovation, creating personalized consumer experiences, and improving media results in an effective way, I think that definitely this is going to be key. I like as well when you talk about humbleness, obviously, from the companies and from the brand, and how you reinforce that understanding that AI is still a tool, okay? And obviously we need human capabilities and we need an integrated strategic approach to it. So, Omar, I truly appreciate you taking the time to share your experiences with us today. It's clear that Kellanova is a strong example in AI marketing transformation. So thank you very much, Omar.
Thank you so much, Miguel.
And to everybody tuning in, thank you for joining with us for this insightful conversation. Stay connected, stay curious, and we will catch up in the next episode of AI Marketing Transformation.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the AI Marketing Transformation Podcast. If you are a marketing leader who wants to tap into the most recent insights and innovative strategies in marketing and AI, be sure to subscribe. We appreciate your time and look forward to having you with us on the next episode.